doing? It's Mark at Marc Cooks and Eats Things, and welcome back to Biltong Part 2. So I've had the meat curing now. I've had it in the fridge for slightly more than a week. 5 to 7 days is plenty. I got busy and didn't get to it very quickly, but it'll still be fine. It's not a problem. It just didn't need to be cured that long. So these are the eye around. Remember we talked about the fact that we were doing 2 different types of meat to see which one we like the most. So these are the ones for the eye around. The top sirloins are on the bottom. And what I'm going to do with this now that's come out of the cure is I'm going to weigh them individually in grams. So this will give me 95 grams. So I want it to lose 55% of its weight before it's ready to eat. So it's going to be hung up and we're going to hang it to dry. So I know that I want this piece to weigh 45% of what it weighs right now. So 95 grams, half of 95 is 45, 47 and a half. Take that down a little bit. It's probably going to weigh about 40 grams when it's finished. So I'll put these on hooks. For hooks, I'm just using these, you buy them at the dollar store. It's the easiest thing to do for hooks is these plastic coated paper clips. You clean them up really well first, make sure there's nothing weird on them, and then you make just a simple hook out of them. So I'm going to pass that through the meat up by its thickest part, because I want to make sure that and there we go. I'm going to hang it just like this. I'm going to put a little tag on this piece. I'm going to tag this one number 1. And I'm going to write down that number 1 weighed 95 grams. And I'm going to wait, probably take about a week. I'm going to weigh them again. And when they get to that right weight, they're done. At that point, we can start eating them. We'll keep some out to eat. We will re-vacuum seal a few of them and put them back in the fridge. And they'll keep until we're ready to eat them. But as you see, it looks beautiful. The cure took nicely. All the spices and everything are all over the meat. It's wonderful. See? Looks great. Alright, so all I'm going to do now is just do the same thing. Weigh them all out, record their numbers, and then we're going to get into hanging them. Take care. Hey, how you doing? We're back. So we got it all weighed out and all tagged. So we've got them either numbered or lettered, depending on whether it's the top sirloin we're working with or the eye round. And we've got the weight in grams marked on each tag. So we know what type they are and how much the starting weight is. And so now we're just going to hang them here. We've got this little rack in this back room in our house, which we're going to use as our drying rack. You want a place that's warm with really good airflow. So we're going to keep the door closed so our cats and dogs don't find all this wonderful free hanging meat. For probably 5 days to a week, you know, we'll come in and check these and weigh them probably after 5 days or so to see where they're at, if they've if they're ready to eat or not. But they're all slightly different weights, of course, but their thickness, which is really going to affect their drying speed, is pretty close to the same. We tried to cut them about thumb thick, if you remember when we first started this project. So while they've gone under a bit of curing and they've shrunk a bit already, they should more or less dry pretty close to the same rate. And like I say, I'm not really sure if I need to place them this close together. I'm probably going to move them around a bit because I actually have way more space here than I need. And I'm hanging them way tighter than I really should have to. Because I really do want enough space between them that they're not touching each other. And the air can move around them. So let's just space these out just a little bit better. I do have a lot of space on this rack, and really not that many pieces of meat going up. So, nice things about these, of course, is we can just bend these hooks over. And there, we're just going to keep doing this till we get all the meat hung. And we'll come back in 5 days to a week and show you how it finishes. Hey, how you doing? I'm Mark from Marc Cooks and Eats Things. If you remember, we hung the biltong on Sunday. This is now Wednesday, so not many days have gone by really. We're 3 days or so, and I wanted to check in on it. So when we hung it all, we tagged them with a number and the weight. Because what we're really curious about is we want to see what the weight loss is like. So what I did is I picked one of the heaviest pieces and one of the lightest pieces from the 2 different types of beef that we hung. So I wanted to see how they're losing weight as well. So let's start with the heaviest one first. This one started off at 162 grams. This is from the top sirloin piece, I believe. So it now weighs 85 grams, 83. So 83 grams divided by 162 grams, multiplied by 100. So we've lost about 51.2% of the weight of this already. I'm looking for about a 55% weight loss. So in 3 days, I'm already really close. We could eat this now. This is within the range of it being good to go. But we're going to let it go for a couple more days before we actually cut it. This is the other one. So this was one of the smallest pieces we hung. This is 88 grams. It's from the other cut of meat. It's from the eye of round. So 88 to begin with. It's down to 40. So 40 divided by 88 multiplied by 100. We've seen about 45% weight loss here so far, 45.5. So this is losing water weight a little bit slower, and part of that could be where it is on the rack as well. So yeah, it's already quite hard. It's already dried out quite a bit. There's not even really, you can't even really bend it at this point. I mean, this one you can, it's quite a bit bigger. But this, like you would have to try to break this in half. It's actually quite a solid piece. So, Wednesday, we'll check back on this. Probably Friday night, we'll cut into them, because they're going to be done by then, I think. I'm surprised. I didn't think that 5 to 7 days would be enough, but it is. Thanks. Hey, welcome back to Marc Cooks and Eats Things. So the biltong, we're into the final part of the biltong now. It's hung long enough, and now we're just making sure that everything's worked out properly. So as we showed you previously, we marked the weight, the starting weight on all these, and we're shooting for about a 65% weight loss. So weighing in grams, I'm at 45 grams here on this one right now. I started at 121. So the math is pretty easy. It's the current weight, which is 45 grams, divided by the starting weight, which is 121 grams. To multiply that by 100, it's down to 37% of what it weighed to begin with. So this one has lost more than enough to be done. And and it works the same for all of it. Here's a type of the other type of meat we use. This was 97 grams to start with. It's down to 37 now. So it's down to 38% of what it weighed originally. So this stuff is definitely all done. So now we know it's done. I've got a few pieces here I've taken off the hooks and everything already. I've already weighed them out. 2 different types. When we hung these, we cut these strips with the grain to hang them. When we cut them, we're cutting across the grain to eat them. So you'll see it's really well dried out. This is what the inside of this piece looks like. The other type of steak or beef that we use, you can see the inside of this. And the flavor is fantastic. It's really good. It's like a really good beef jerky. Not smoked though, and peppery, and savory and delicious. And it still has some moisture to it still. So it's not all dried up leather. It's really good. What's going to happen with this now? I'm going to leave it a little bit out for us to eat. The rest of it I'm going to put into a vacuum bag into my fridge. It'll equalize the moisture out through it. Excuse me. Over the next few days. And as we want to eat it, we'll pull out pieces and just slice it up. Anyway, so that's biltong. It's easy, simple to make, and absolutely delicious. Highly recommend it. Thanks for tuning in.